When I was coming up, I don't even think we thought about billion-dollar business, any of those things. Like, I always tell people this, man. I say this often. In the beginning, making records was whack. Because if you listen to, okay, I lead people to Run DMC Here We Go, the Live at the Funhouse song. And Run says, now if you say you heard my rhyme, we gonna have to fight cause I just made the motherfucker up last night. That's the model. The model is you go outside every day with a new rhyme. See? He said, if you say you heard my rhyme, we gonna have to fight. So the model is every time you see me, I'm busting something fresh and new. So in the very beginning, making records was whack because that meant that the same thing got played over and over. It wasn't until a little later on that some people got the notion that we could be recording artists. And then even as recording artists, we weren't really sure what that meant. I often tell people, you know, Rapper's Delight was a huge record, almost from its inception. But if you listen to the first Sugar Hill Gang album, they singing on half of it and rapping on half of it. We didn't know what to do. It wasn't until Russell and Run went in that profile with Corey Robbins and made that first album that we said, holy crap, we could rap on a whole album. Because even the Fat Boys almost still felt R&B-ish. Fat boy. Curtis did a great job, but still very intertwined with R&B and stuff. Running them was kind of, it was like what they said, beats. It was beats and rhymes. And so we realized we could literally make an album full of beats and rhymes. But the concept of us being like a multi-billion-dollar corporation, it was an evolution that did that. Now, I'll tell you a person I do believe knew it. He's not here anymore. Scott LaRock knew it. Because most people don't know when Scott LaRock passed away, he had 3 independent labels. Scott was always on some, yo, daddy, you ain't got to sign to nobody. You could do it yourself. So Scott knew it, but I wasn't there. I'm just a rapper trying to get my rhymes off. Like, I'm not trying to own no business or nothing like that. Like, I'm just trying to rhyme. So, you know what I'm saying? So I think that thing was just an evolution. For me, it just looked more like an evolution. You know, we do this, and then, you know, later on in my life, I end up doing a Polly-O string cheese commercial. I end up doing an Alka-Seltzer commercial. I end up doing a Dark and Lovely commercial. So later on, I began to start doing voiceovers for commercials, but I didn't know I was going to do that in the beginning either. And even when I did those, I had, you know, the consensus was down the middle. Half my friends was calling me sellouts, and the other half was like, yo, that was dope. When I saw hip-hop would be, or had the ability to be huge for brands, it was at the Adidas point with Run DMC. Because my Adidas, so here's my Adidas. It's Run DMC, who we love. Also, like, I mean, just as far as New York is concerned, very hometown hero, right? Adidas, which is a brand, the Shell-toe, Adidas, kind of something we inherit. This is the sneaker besides the Puma that we're taking and putting the fat laces in. Run DMC makes my Adidas. We think nothing of Adidas connection. We just think, wow, they made, you know, that's a dope ass idea, you know what I'm saying, to make a record. And then Run does, and I'm sure you heard the story, Run does The Garden one night. They do my Adidas on stage. They tell all these kids, raise your Adidas in the air, and the people from Adidas are there, and they see like all of these kids put the Adidas up in the air, and then they end up getting this endorsement deal. So I think that was for me, wow, we can do this. My buddy Set Free Richardson, who's been a friend of mine for a long time, had this opportunity. He was living in Queens. His parents moved to Philadelphia. He called me one day and he said, I have this opportunity to work with this sneaker company, a small sneaker company called And One, really off-brand, whatever. I think maybe I had heard of them. I'm not sure if I had heard of them or not. But he says, hey, man, I need you to write a proposal for me because I can't write a proposal. Like, I know what I want to do when I get there, but I can't, I can't write this introduction. So I put it together. I'm like the writer of my friends, those kind of friends, right? And I put it together. He ended up getting the job. And once he got the job, like a week later, he calls me and says, man, I got this idea I want you to work with me on. I'm saying, what? He said, I want to do a video mixtape. Like, what the hell are you talking about, a video mixtape? At that time, Ron G, Brucey B, everybody popping. That's what mixtapes was. He said, I got this footage of this kid, Rayford Austin. They call him Skip to Malou. He's up at the Rucker and all that. And I was like, I don't know who he is. He says, man, this is amazing footage. And what I want to do is, I got the guys that can edit for me on camera. But I want you to do two things for me, D. I need you to find me records that are coming out that are not out yet. So I need that. And then I need you to also go to your friends, De La Soul and Paul and all these people that are your friends, and just get me drops. Yo, this is so-and-so, and you watching the And1 mixtape. So I did what he asked. I got a bunch of songs from him and all of that, and I got the drops and things. He says, watch what I do. So he put it together, and it was a success. And so, it taught me a lot about marketing, period. Later on, I went to work for, a subsidiary. They created a company called HoopsTV.com that we was in operation maybe 2.5 years. And then we were like charged to actually, it was like we was doing an And1 tape. Oh, it was like a portion of an And1 tape daily. We had a team of video editors and really fast-paced editing, and I was music supervisor there. So my job was a bunch of things: agreements, getting samples cleared, creating original music. Like, I was hired because I was a producer, because, the default position was, I'll just make it. You know what I'm saying? If they need a piece of music, I'll just make it. I literally would score in my office. I had a setup in my office, and I literally would score in my office. But then it also gave me kind of A&R-ish opportunities for friends of mine that might have had tracks, and I could do these deals with them where I could buy the tracks from them or license it for a few years and stuff like that.
Don't get me wrong, like the marching and all that stuff and the protest and all that, like, that's cool, we need that. But, man, the hood's so fucked up. Like, you need them protests and marches in the hood, too. It's kind of crazy, you know what I mean? Like, really, in the situation, what's going on, how the world made, how it's set up right now, you can't do nothing about it.
Fife, I was the first person, I kind of connected with on a major label type of thing as an artist on the Family Tree Tour that really, like, checked my beats. I was like, man, like, you really dope.
It's like, it got to be real, it's official. And when he played the record back then, it meant something. So I understood now, but you didn't understand why he was going through. But when he played that record and we heard it for the first time on the radio, man, that was a crazy moment right there. It was like, we did it.
He showed me, 9 or 10 composition notebooks of rhymes. And when I saw that, I was like, wow, he writes.